Now,
Okay, perfect.
I think we have just started. Oh my God. Thank you for joining me, Ricky. Let me switch in Turkish first and then switch back in English.
Sounds good.
Merhaba arkadaşlar. Bugün sabahın 5.30'unda uyandım. Çünkü Ricky şu an Filipinler'de saat 10 orada. Benim de gündüz işim olduğu için böyle denk getirdik. Ricky dijital nomad dedi. Yani dijital göçebe baba olarak yaşıyor. Üç çocuğu ve eşiyle birlikte bunun gerçek olduğunu, gerçek olabileceğini ispat ediyor ve aynı zamanda bununla ilgili danışmanlık hizmeti veriyor. Nasıl olabileceğiyle ilgili. Şimdi hemen İngilizceye geçiyoruz ve sohbete başlıyoruz. Yeah, I explained them. You are living as a, digital nomad daddy. Yeah, we can dive into it.
Sounds good. Yeah. Thank you for having me on your show. It's an honor and a pleasure. And thank you for waking up early in the morning over there in Turkey. I know it's early for you. For me here in Manila, Philippines, it's about 10:30 a.m. So it's early for me, but great to connect. Great to connect.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much to sharing your time with me. And I'm hearing your child over there. That's awesome, man.
Yes, I work at home, so I have my kids in the background. You might hear them, screaming or fighting, and they might even join. They're just watching something right now. They might come into the video and join us for the
Yeah,
call. Who
yeah,
knows?
yeah, man. It's awesome. And I'm really curious about when did you decided to be a digital nomad and why? Because you are really representing the era of the new family. And what are your plans to education for your children? Because the most important thing I think for parents for digital nomad lifestyle, I think every parents protect their kids and they're asking themselves what's gonna happen if I travel with my kids and what's gonna happen with their education.
Hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about this?
Yes, of course. So let me first share a little bit of the stories, just so
Oh
everyone
yeah,
understands a little
yeah,
bit of
yeah,
the context.
exactly, yeah, man. I,
Yeah, so I'm from Vancouver, BC, Canada, and like I was born there, went to school there, I was working there, met my wife there. We had three kids there, and around the time that we had a third kid, we decided that we didn't want to be just stuck in a suburb, in a city, in a country, in a continent our whole lives, because that's what everyone's doing, right? Like they get married, they buy a house, and they start raising their kids, put them to school. Eventually, 25 years later, once they finish university, then eventually they might retire and travel the world if they're healthy enough and if they have enough money in retirement. We
yeah,
didn't want to follow that. They call it the Canadian dream or the American dream, right? We didn't want to follow that dream. We
yeah,
wanted to follow our own dream. And our
yeah,
dream was to travel the world and show our kids the amazing beauty of this world and to explore and to live with adventure and build a strong family and inspire others or volunteer. So we created our own dream rather than following the dream of everyone else in our lives or in society or the rest of the world. So we left Vancouver, our hometown, on December 6th, 2016. So it's
20.
already been over 2 years that we've been nomadic. The first year of being nomad, we were traveling quite fast. We traveled to about 20 countries in 1 year with three kids who are five and under. Remember that they're young
Man,
kids. It's not
you're
just me
like
as
a
a
champion,
backpacker.
man. You're like a
if
champion.
it Exactly, if it's just me as a backpacker, okay, I can do 20 countries with in 12 months. But with young kids, it's even obviously more challenging and difficult, which we could talk about. For the second year, we slowed it down. So 2017, we did 20 countries. 2018, we did 8 countries. We slowed it down, spent more time. And
Uh-huh.
then this year, we're trying something new. We're actually trying to set up a base. Well, we have, not trying, we have. We've set up a base in a new country, which is the Philippines.
Mhm.
And we have established ourselves here as the home base. And then we're going to explore more of Southeast Asia. And our next goal is to do Africa as well. So that's a little bit of the
Wow.
background, just so you understand the context about who we are and, our family and traveling. And I make money online through several different ways, including online coaching. I do online courses. I have Kindle books. I do blogging, podcasting, affiliate marketing, YouTube ad revenue. And as we're traveling, I also do different seminars, workshops, conferences as well. So I'm the typical digital nomad with multiple streams of income. And the untypical one, because I'm not doing it solo, I'm doing it with my wife and 3 young kids. So there you go. A little bit of the
Yeah,
backstory, Barack.
man, that's so powerful, man. Because I am really, really excited. This is, man, you have to take care of your children too.
Mm.
You are doing so much things, and you take care of your children. This is amazing, man.
Yeah, like obviously the priority at the end of the day is our kids. Like we have to make sure that they're safe, they're healthy, they're educated, and they're living the best lives we can do. And, as parents, one of my philosophies is travel is the best education. So if I believe that mentally or intellectually or internally, why wasn't I doing that? Like if I believed that travel is the best education, why wasn't I doing that back in Vancouver? So there was a disalignment, a lack of alignment with what I believe and what I was doing. So we had to switch something, right? Otherwise,
Yeah,
we'll stay in like disalignment or lack of integrity. So we switched it, and now we're living more in alignment. I mean, obviously there'll be stuff that's always missing or we need to work on, and it'll never be perfect, quote unquote. But we're definitely living more in alignment than we were back in that suburban life. I call myself a domesticated dad. Back in
yeah,
Vancouver, I'd be domesticated, suburbanized, like taking our kids to school and living in the suburbs. That was adventure, just going around the suburbs. But
yeah,
now
man.
they've been to like Machu Picchu. They've been to they've been to like what do you call it, Burj Khalifa over there in the Middle East, the tallest building in the world. They've gone down the Amazon rainforest. They've been on animal safaris and seen animals, not in the zoo, but they've seen them in the
Not in the
wild.
zoo
And
or not in the book or not in the screen.
exactly. So yeah, we're living an amazing adventure, and there's obviously struggles as well, which we can talk about. And I'm very open. You can ask me any questions about our journey, and I'm ready to answer them and help your viewers also live this amazing digital nomad lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah, man. And well, what? Let me ask a question about uh, which way are you making money online? But you already talk about them. But let's get into it a little bit more.
Yeah, sure.
Can you little bit talk about your books topics?
Yes. Regarding money, the biggest barrier that people have when traveling the world is usually money, right? They say, "Oh, I can't afford it," or "If I had more money," or "I'll put it on my bucket list," or maybe one day, or "If I win a lottery." That's kind of the answers you'll get, right? So
Yes.
my belief system, and this is what works for us, is that we first make a decision. You make a decision to travel, or you decision that you're going to travel more. It doesn't have to be crazy luxury travel. Like you don't have to stay at 5-star resorts. You can just travel. You can travel budget. You can stay in local places. You can eat local. You can travel local in like buses and public transport instead of taxis, and travel on a budget, especially if you have a money kind of barrier. And
Yeah.
then once you make a decision, you help finance the decision. So I teach a 3-step process.
Mhm.
First you save, then you sell, and then you serve. So save, sell,
Oh,
serve. Yeah, saving is basically like putting aside a certain amount towards your travel budget. It might
yeah.
be $20 a month, $50 a month. I know you're from Turkey. You
Mhm.
use the lira. I'm here in the Philippines. They use pesos, but we'll just use the dollars as kind of the
Yeah.
universal currency, right? So,
Yeah.
like if you just save like $20, $50 a month, even up to 100 a month over the course of a year, that's like $1,200, right? If you're saving 100 a month. And
Mhm.
it means you're cutting back. You're cutting back on those dinners out. You're cutting back on
Yeah.
those movies. You're cutting back on the temptation to buy new gadgets, which we all love new gadgets, right? Like, oh, the
Yeah.
latest iPhone, the latest Samsung, the latest Android, the latest technology. We want to buy. So what I
Mhm.
teach is less materialism and more memories. And
Mhm.
saving by maybe even coffees, like people love Starbucks, or cutting back on those $5
Yeah,
coffees.
I love that saying, man.
Yeah,
Can you
memories
repeat
over
it?
materialism.
Yeah.
Memories are more important than materialism because you can always buy more things, but you cannot buy more memories, especially when young kids are involved, right? Like kids are growing up. And what are they going to remember? Are they going to remember the amount of toys they have? Or are they going to remember travel with daddy and mommy, or camping, or those experiences, the bonding. That's what they'll remember, guaranteed.
Yeah, that's the
They're
life,
not going
man.
to remember. Yeah. So going back to what I was saying, so save first, right? Cutting back on things like those coffees out. They call it the latte factor. Just cutting back on lattes alone. If you have a $5 cup of coffee every day for 365 days, that's actually $1,500.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. One cup of coffee cut out over 365 days is like $1,500. That alone will buy you a
Yes.
ticket pretty much anywhere around the world. Just one cup of coffee a day.
Yeah.
So, and then in terms of selling, so that's selling maybe your physical stuff, especially if you want to do it longer term. Like if you want to travel nomadically as a lifestyle, then you can sell the big things like your house or your car or your furniture, your books, your gadgets, stuff you don't need. Or if you want to travel short term, maybe 6 months a year, you can maybe rent out your house or, rent out your car or just like put stuff in storage, right? So you got to decide if you're going to travel nomadically long term or short term, 6 months to a year, or just obviously do your 2-week or 1 month vacations, right?
Yeah.
So start selling physical stuff towards that. And then the question you asked me is like, how do you make money online? Well, you start selling digitally. We live in the day and age of the internet, which is the most powerful tool in the history of humankind to make money, because we're not making money right now, but we could be, right? Like you could sell what I'm selling. We could be doing coaching right now. You could be teaching me Turkish right now. We could be doing so many things right now, making money. Whereas,
So
you
much
sell me something.
potential over there.
Yeah, you sell me something, I sell you something. So just through the powerful thing of like a Skype call or a Zoom call or Google Hangout call, you can be teaching English, you can be teaching languages, you could be coaching people, you could be consulting, you could be running mastermind groups. You could be doing virtual summits, you could be doing webinars, right? So there's so many ways to make money just through this technology. Then, of course, you can do e-commerce, things like Alibaba, Amazon, Etsy, Shopify. You can do things like affiliate marketing, which means selling other people's products and getting a commission. You can do, you asked me about books. So obviously books is a great way to make passive income. You put your books on Amazon, Kindle, and then you make passive income there. And then Udemy or Thinkific or Kajabi or Teachable is basically creating online course. That's passive income as well. So there's so many ways, Barack, many ways. And then the last step I just want to quickly say is like you save first, sell second, and serve. So you don't just travel for the sake of narcissism and vanity, selfie time, or like bragging about how great your travels are on Instagram. I really teach the importance of volunteerism, volunteering when you're traveling. So we volunteer at different orphanages. I teach at NGOs, like teaching them about business, and I love helping the poor as well. So I volunteer with the poor here in the Philippines while we're here. When we're traveling around like South America last year, we were volunteering at different orphanages, teaching English, doing arts and crafts, helping take care of the kids there. So there's awesome volunteer opportunities as well. So that's my quick summary. You save, you sell, and then you serve.
Man, this is so blissful what you're doing for orphans or poor people. And this is very different part of being digital nomad, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And,
yes. Absolutely. A lot of people focus just on the money. They're like, make money, travel. But that's empty. If you're just making a lot of money, if you're making 6, 7, 8 figures, and if you're just traveling to all 193 countries, it's going to be quite empty. So it's very important to also serve and volunteer, not just make money and not just travel. So serving is very important.
Man. And what as you know, do you know Udemy's owner is Turkish?
I did not know the history of Udemy. That's amazing. He's Turkish. So that's great. He's created amazing global platform. Amazing platform.
Yeah, I think he's office in Silicon Valley, and he's really crushing it.
Yes, Udemy is great.
Which kind of course are you selling right now?
Yeah, so firstly, like for people who are not familiar with Udemy, it's the biggest online course marketplace in the world. There's obviously some other ones, like there's Thinkific, there's Teachable, there's Coursera, there's Skillshare, there's Kajabi. The reason I like Udemy a lot, and I'm not getting paid by Udemy to say this, I like Udemy a lot because they actually bring you customers and they bring you buyers. So people go to Udemy specifically with the purpose to purchase. They go there with their PayPals and credit cards, and they want to buy courses. Whereas like those other platforms I mentioned, you have to market yourself. So you are responsible for marketing. They do not bring you customers. You basically are bringing them customers. Whereas Udemy, they bring you customers. Obviously, you can still market to your email list, to your social media, on your YouTube channel, your podcast. Whenever you're doing speaking, you can say your courses. But the beautiful thing is, while I'm sleeping, Udemy is making me sales. Like, it's amazing. Literally, I wake up and I'll look at my Udemy backend. I'll be like, oh, you made 5 sales, you made 2 sales, you made 1 sale, or sometimes 10 sales, right?
Totally passive.
Because it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in every continent in the world, in every time zone in the world, right? So even though I'm sleeping, people in maybe North America or maybe in Europe, maybe in Australia, New Zealand are going there and they're purchasing my courses. So I have courses on business growth, basically, how to grow your business. I have courses on branding, personal branding. I have courses on social media marketing, on YouTube marketing, on creating and marketing a blog. I have a course on creating and launching your own podcast. I have one on how to get into the media, how to get into press, how to do speaking, professional speaking, how to build up your own coaching program. I have one specifically about being a digital nomad as well, and internet marketing courses, and travel. And I even have one on fatherhood as well. So I have 15 courses right now, 15, and I'm creating at least 1 or 2 every month.
Man, you are producer of courses, man. 15 courses is a lot. And you are also have been a public speaker, and you did a TEDx talk. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I've spoken in all continents now. There's 6 continents. There's also Antarctica, but I've spoken in all the 6 continents. I've spoken in North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, and Australia. So what I do is like either I'll speak at a company or corporation, or I will organize my own events. So the way I do that is I actually partner with a local person. So if I was coming over there to Turkey, I'll be like, hey, Barack,
why not, man? One day, why not?
Exactly. So this example, I'd be like, hey, Barack, I want to come to Turkey and speak to the local entrepreneurs and business owners. Let's organize the event together. So Barack would actually book a venue. He would market it. He would get the audience there. I would come in and speak and teach, and we'll do a profit split. It might be like 50-50, right? Like, because obviously Barack is doing all the work with marketing it and putting together. I'm doing the work by flying there and then speaking. So we do a straight 50-50 split. And that's how I speak around the world. I'll partner with a local person who already has a network. Maybe they're a meetup organizer. Maybe they have their own tribe or network. And it's easy for them to, like, you have a YouTube channel, or it's easy for them to already create a meetup or an event. Usually I'll speak maybe for free at like a 1-hour event. And then from the 1-hour event, I'll sell them into my paid workshop. And then from my paid workshop, then I'll sell them into my online coaching and mastermind groups and like membership stuff. So it's called a sales funnel, from free to like a lower ticket to a higher ticket. So I do that. And my TEDx talk was last year, and it was on the topic of how to be a digital nomad, and basically like just inspiring people to work and travel and help people. That's at the end of the day, if I have a strong family, if I can travel the world, if I can make money to support them, and of course to volunteer, that's for me a definition of an amazing life. And I feel I'm doing that to the degree I am now. Obviously, I can still make more money. I can still help more people. I can still travel more. I can still have a stronger marriage. I can still be a better dad. But I'm living the life I've always wanted, which is an incredible blessing. And I'm super grateful to God for this opportunity.
Yeah, man. I love the one quote, you can't be what you can't see.
Yes.
That's why the events is very important, I think.
Yes.
And when have you created your first online course?
So I did it, I believe, about 1.5 years ago. So I've done 15 courses in 1.5 years. So almost 1 course a month, roughly.
Yeah.
There were some months where I was more active. I did 2 courses. Some months where I was less active. I didn't do any. But roughly a course a month over the last 15 months or last 1.5 years, roughly. And yeah, no plans to stop me. I want to keep going. And I love inspiring other people to do it too, because all you do is you do the work once, right? You sit in front of your laptop, just like I'm doing now.
Yeah.
looking at my webcam and just saying,
Yeah.
hey, I'm Ricky. I'm here in the Philippines. I'm going to be talking about how to build your own personal brand. Or I'm going to be talking about how to launch your own podcast, right? You don't
Yeah.
necessarily need a lot of fancy equipment. Like a lot of people think, oh, you need a great backdrop. You need like amazing
Yeah.
equipment.
I,
I do
I
it
want
very
to spend
simply.
some
Just a
money for
laptop.
equipment like this.
No,
It
you
has
don't
to
need
be
to.
perfect. This has to be perfect. I have to have logo like this.
You don't need all that.
People think like that.
You just do it very simply, especially the most important thing is to get it out there, right? So the founder of LinkedIn, he had a great quote. He said, if you're not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you waited too long. If you're
Yeah.
not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you waited too long. Even
This
for
is
yourself,
my
Parag.
idea like this.
Your first YouTube video is probably terrible. Or your first interview is
Yeah.
terrible. And
Yeah.
every interview you do, every YouTube video you do, you get better. Like for me, my first course was good, but it wasn't as great as my 15th course because every course I've got better. I'm not pausing. I'm not stumbling. I'm not, I'm not going, I'm not,
Yeah. A little
I'm
bit
not making all
nervous
the
on the
mistakes.
camera, maybe.
And honestly, hand up, I was nervous. And even now, I still get nervous. Like when I'm doing a podcast or media interview, I'm like, oh, what if I make a mistake? Or what if I don't answer the question properly? But hey, we're humans. And
Yeah.
don't worry about it. Because if you make mistakes, if you're just honest and transparent, people relate to you even more. It's not
Yeah.
just polished up. It's not just saying everything's perfect. So that's why I share like, oh, I'm still struggling. Like, hey, my marriage, I had a fight with my spouse yesterday. Or my kids, they're fighting. Well, what marriage doesn't have fights? What kids don't like have problems, right? So
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
person doesn't have money problems? Even like now we're trying to figure out, okay, how do we make more money, right? And health, like for me, I want to be healthier, right? And I want to work on all areas of my life. So there's some gurus or internet marketers out there who'll just pretend everything's perfect. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
always at the beach, always having mojitos. My relationship's perfect. I like to be a little bit more open, not even a little bit more open. I like to just be open.
Yeah. More
you know,
realistic. Huh?
just to be real. I struggle with my health. I struggle with my marriage. I struggle to be the best dad. I struggle to live on purpose, and I struggle to be focused. A lot
Yeah.
of entrepreneurs, we struggle with focus, right? And
Yes.
then when I say that, people are like, oh, Ricky, you struggle with focus, so do I, right? So I think it's important just to be very vulnerable, very transparent, and very authentic.
Yeah, man. I started Amazon business and then I failed it. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't want to say failed. I
Mm-hmm.
learned it and I started the research and I figured out I'm in the shiny object. There are lots of opportunities. I'm like, I'm this. I have to go this way. And I'm changing my way and like this, and really understand. And when you share this as an entrepreneur or a digital nomad, I figured out, yeah, man, this is very normal because
Yes.
so much opportunities and everybody falls in that,
Yes.
and this is very very normal. And how do you overcome traveling with your children and wife, with family? How do you overcome that? Because
Well, yeah.
people think
Yeah.
it's really hard.
It's the greatest blessing that we've ever done. Like, I mean, we've made a lot of decisions, right? The decision to get married, the decision to have kids, the decision to start your own business, the decision to write a book, the decision
Yeah.
to create a course, the decision to be an internet marketer, right? One of the other decisions we made was the decision to travel with our kids. And in terms of that, it was the best decision. We have no regrets. Now, there's obviously challenges with that. So, like, I'll share some of the challenges. So, firstly, is the schooling. When you're
Yeah.
when you're in a suburb, you have a traditional school, either public school, private school. They have their consistent, stable friendships. Every year they'll go from kindergarten to grade 1, all the way to elementary, high school, university, right? So there's some sort of stability. Well, when you travel, you take away that stability, which is obviously a challenge, right? But the thing with schooling, there's a few different approaches. So let me outline the approaches for schooling, especially as a digital nomad traveling family. So you have public schooling, you have private schooling, you have international schooling, you have local schooling as you travel. You got something called homeschooling, where you're basically teaching through online curriculum at home. Like home might mean like hotel or resort or
Yeah.
hostel or Airbnb, right? But that's what I mean, like homeschooling. Maybe you could call it hotel schooling.
Yeah, why not?
And then you have something called unschooling. But basically, unschooling means you've taken them out of the formal traditional education system and they're learning through the world. So that's another term. It's called world schooling. Basically, for example, I'll give you some examples that's a little bit easier. So if you want to teach them about the Amazon or the ecosystem or the rainforest, you don't open up a textbook and say, this is the flora and the fauna, this is the different like type of animals that live in the rainforest. You actually take them to the Amazon rainforest in Brazil, and you show them what a rainforest is, and you teach them about photosynthesis and how flora and fauna work and how it all, how the rainforest is endangered, those kind of things. Then they get it. Because when they look at your textbook, they're like, okay, this is a book about the rainforest, and they don't get it because they're not experientially learning it. And we, as adults, we also learn experientially. So, of course, our kids also learn better experientially.
They're seeing, they're smelling, they're feeling.
Yeah, and if you want to teach them about like the Incas or the Mayans or the Aztecs, you don't just teach them in a textbook or from a teacher who's never been there. You take them to Machu Picchu and you show them the Inca lost ruins in Peru, and you say, this is an ancient civilization. They built this amazing city in the sky. Unfortunately, it got destroyed. This is how their society lived. This is how they build these amazing structures, right? So I feel that's the best education, the kind of like the experiential education.
Exactly.
Another term for it is called self-directed learning. So if you look at your kids and what are they interested in? If they're interested in science or like planets, you teach them more about astronomy. Like, okay, if you're interested in planets, let's learn about the planets. Again,
you don't push
by
to
pulling
learn.
out a telescope.
Yeah, you don't push to learn. You just show them to how they find their patience. This is really different and important part of, I think, learning.
Yeah, exactly, Barak. So you look for what they're interested in.
How old them? Three of them.
So my kids, they're currently 6, 5, and 2. And when we left, they were actually 5 years. They were almost 5. One was 3, and one was 6 months. So they were very young. And they've already been to almost 28 countries. Actually, they've been to 28 countries by the time they hit 5. For me, I've been to 81 countries. So I did a lot before I got married. But, you know, can you imagine that?
Amazing.
A 5-year-old kid, and they've been to 28 countries. When you ask them, like, about things like what I talked about, the Incas and the Amazon, they're very open. They can talk about it, just like we're talking about it. 5-year-old daughter can talk about it. When you talk
they know already all of things.
When you talk to a normal 5-year-old, you know, tell me about Machu Picchu, they'll give you a blank look. They'll be like, Machu Picchu, right? Like, they won't understand even what Machu Picchu is, or Peru, or like these places, right? So I really feel this is setting them up for success from a young age, right? Like, we don't know exactly how they'll turn up or what they'll become or what their interests will be when they're like 20 or 30 or 40 or 50. But at least this foundation will help them to be more intercultural. They have a love for food now from different cultures. They have a love for languages. They have a love for meeting people.
Tropical fruits.
Exactly. So I feel these skills, these life skills, are very important for their future, regardless of what they decide they're going to be.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. And people think this is the most expensive part. You know, this is the most expensive way to teaching something, but it's not. I think schools are really, really expensive.
Yes.
But they teaching on paper or screens, man.
Yes. And, you know, I just want to say this. Even though you're traveling, you can also travel cheaply. So if you look at the world, you got the expensive parts of the world. You have North America, which is Canada, the U.S., which is expensive. You have most of Western Europe. Yeah, Western Europe is quite expensive. Then you have Australia and New Zealand, which is quite expensive relatively, right? So if you're traveling on a budget, then focus on cheaper parts of the world. Go to Southeast Asia, you know, a place like Thailand or Laos or Vietnam or Cambodia or Indonesia, Philippines, India. This area is quite cheap. And also Latin America, like Central America and South America, is also quite cheap. And then if you go into Eastern Europe, a lot of Eastern European countries, even the Middle East, a lot of, except for Dubai.
Turkey, Turkey for, you know,
Just avoid Dubai. We went to Dubai and we're like, oh my God, Dubai is so expensive. We got to leave quickly, right? So we're on a budget. Like, we're not just like, you know, like millionaires. We didn't win a lottery. So we're very much on a budget. We choose cheaper parts of the world to travel in. We avoid Europe. We haven't actually, like I've done Europe before I got married, but as a family, we have actually not gone to Europe yet. And we've not gone to Australia yet. But we've done all these countries in Southeast Asia. We've done a couple of countries in Africa, and we've done South America. We did 12 countries there, and Central America 8. So we purposely choose cheaper parts of the world, and we also travel cheaply. Like we'll stay in hostels. The other thing we didn't talk about, Barack, but I'm a travel blogger, and as a travel blogger, I get a lot of stuff sponsored. So I get hotels sponsored, resorts sponsored. I got sightseeing sponsored. Even sometimes my transport, they might fly me there, or when we're there, then we'll get like a local buses, trains, like food at restaurants. We'll get that stuff sponsored. So you can imagine getting that stuff sponsored obviously also helps cut down on the travel budget, especially getting those hotels.
Yeah, that's really good reason to have a blog, man.
Exactly. And even what you're doing, Barack, you do YouTube videos, right? You could do that anywhere around the world, right? You could be like, hey, I'm here in New York City. I'm staying at like the Ritz-Carlton in Manhattan, and I'm doing this YouTube Live with a Facebook Live. Here's a tour of my hotel, right? So what you're doing, you can do it anywhere around the world as well. You happen to be in Turkey now. I happen to be in the Philippines now. But we could be at different hotels, and we'll obviously give a shout out, right? We'll say, I'm at this hotel. So we'll promote the hotel. We'll do maybe a Facebook Live. We'll maybe do an Instagram Live or Instagram story. We'll write up a blog post, and then we'll do maybe send out an email to an email saying, if you're going to Manhattan, these are the hotels I recommend. These are the sightseeing attractions I recommend. These are the top food restaurants I recommend, right? So you're helping your readers too, and you're helping your tribe or your network. Plus, you're helping yourself by getting stuff free. Plus, you're helping the tourism board by bringing them more visitors and more tourists as well.
Yeah, man. And when you get the traffic, they contact you directly.
Yes.
You don't have to research, or you don't have to rush on finding some places. They are reaching out to you. This is so important, man. And if it's not a secret, can you share us how much money have you earned from Udemy and Kindle at the beginning to present moment?
Like the income, it varies. Like, honestly, I'll just be honest with Udemy, okay? I like to be honest, like I talked about earlier. So my courses are listed at $197, $195 US, okay? So that's the value. But honestly, I'll tell you guys who are watching here, most of my courses are being sold for $10. $10 US. And the way it works is Udemy takes 50% and I take 50%. So I'll only make like $5 a course. So the actual money from Udemy isn't a lot of money, and it's not the primary way I make money. It's just a side income. I primarily make money through private coaching, doing what we're doing now. I charge 100 US per hour for that, or 350 a month. Usually it's like 400 a month, but if they commit for a month or a few months, then it'll be 350 a month or 1,000 for 3 months to work together privately with me. But with the courses, it's like in the $5 to $10 range per course. And I have about 30,000 students right now, and I made a few thousand dollars in the last year and a half. So it's not a huge amount of money, but the most important thing is it's not the amount of money; it's the fact that it's passive income, right? So every month it's like between $50 to $100 coming in passively. So and I gotta look at it. I gotta look at it like 5 years from now, right? So right now it's between like the 50 to 100 passive a month, but maybe in 5 years, it might be like 500 a month or 1,000 a month, right? And it's just one income stream, right? Udemy's one. And then obviously Kindle's another, affiliate marketing is another. My YouTube ad revenue, again, that's another income stream. And then my coaching consulting is another income stream. My travel blog sponsorships is another income stream. So what I recommend people do is don't just rely on Udemy. Don't just rely on Kindle. Don't just rely on coaching. Don't just rely on e-commerce. Build a multiple stream of income approach. So if 1 month Udemy isn't going as well, then at least you have your e-commerce store. If you're not selling as much on e-commerce, at least you have your coaching business. If you don't have as much coaching clients, you have your travel blog sponsorship, so your affiliate marketing income. So create this multiple streams of income approach. So you're not putting literally all your eggs, all your income into one basket.
like a millionaire mindset, man.
Yeah, exactly. Millionaire mindset. Yes.
7 different sides income. Yeah,
Yes.
you can't put your eggs in one bucket.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah, man. And what are you doing with your consulting business and
So,
coaching?
yeah. So if people want to work with me, I do life and business coaching on three main areas. The first is like family. So
Mhm.
I do coaching for fatherhood and marriage and family because that's my big passion. Obviously, I don't like the divorce rate. Currently, it's like 50% plus. And if more dads and moms got coaching or counseling or support, there wouldn't be a divorce rate like it is right now. So that's
Yeah,
my big passion, to destroy the divorce rate and to make sure marriages stay together for life.
yeah.
And
Like Tony
obviously,
Robbins.
yeah, obviously, if you destroy, if you lower the divorce rate, you help kids because divorce affects kids at the end of the day. And that's, I have daddyblogger.com as my big mission, right? So
Uh-huh.
building strong fathers. So I do coaching on the, fatherhood and marriage and family. I do coaching on internet marketing. So for people who have never made money online, I help them create their first income stream. Maybe it might be their first $100 online or their first $1,000 online, right? Like take
Yeah,
them to those milestones from, their first online sale to their first $1,000 and then to their first $2,000, right? To help them
yeah,
build their income online. And the last area I coach people on is basically how to be a digital nomad in terms of like not only making the income online, but also traveling and, if especially like families, like how do you deal with the things we talked about in the show here, like things like schooling,
uh-huh.
socialization. There's a lot of stuff that you struggle with when you're traveling. Homesickness, culture shock. There's fatigue. There's travel burnout. There's language barriers, right? Like frustration by not learning the local language, not understanding the local people. There's
Yeah,
setting yourself up like for us, we've set it. Like I've lived now in about 5 cities around the world. I've lived in Sydney, Australia for 3 years. I've lived
yeah.
in London, England for a year. I've lived in the Philippines for almost a year now. I lived in Japan for a year. Lived in
Mhm.
Canada for many, many years, right? So how do you not only travel but live in a different country? So I coach in a whole bunch of different areas to do with family and business and travel.
How to uh, learn the culture and
Yes.
lots of people has prejudgment about, as you talk about local languages
Yes.
or something. So yeah, this is very important, man.
Yes. Exactly.
And,
Very important
and
to connect with the locals.
yeah, man, it's so important. If you don't, if they don't speak English, you have to
Yes.
learn. This
Yes.
so simple.
Yes.
Yeah, man. But it's all about fear. I think people fear to speak the strangers or
Mhm.
learning new languages, and that's why maybe people struggling.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
uh, can you give us some bit of advice for building an online business?
Yes, great question, Barak. So, what I would say is start with something called, I'll use the term, it's a Japanese term, it's called ikigai. We just talked about learning languages, so I'll teach you guys a word in Japanese.
Uh-huh.
Ikigai means your true purpose, okay? You can Google it. You can Google, I'll
True.
spell it out. Ikigai.
I
Iki, yeah, I'll repeat it.
Yeah.
Ikigai. Google it,
G
right?
A.
You'll
Okay.
yeah, ikigai. It means your true purpose. So you got to figure out what is your true purpose. Or
Mhm.
some people will say like your mission or your calling or your true north. Like why, or start with why. Simon Sinek has a great talk about it. Like what is the reason you're living? What's your
Yeah.
life mission, right? And then you take your life mission and you turn it into your business mission, and then you monetize that mission.
Mhm.
I believe that money follows mission, and
Yeah.
profit follows passion, right? So you
Yeah.
got to first, a lot of people don't fully know what their purpose and passion is. So that is the starting point. Read the
Mhm.
book called Start with Why.
Mhm.
Watch the TEDx talk called Start with
Yeah.
Why.
Start. What? Yeah.
It talks
Simon
about the
Sinek's.
golden circle.
Mhm.
The center of the golden circle is your why. Then you have
Yeah.
the how, and then you have the what. It's not what you do; it's why you do it, right?
Why you
So
doing? Yeah.
exactly. Start with that. Start with that. If you're confused about your purpose or your passion, there's great books. I'll recommend a few books for you guys. Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren's a great book. It talks about your shape. Your spiritual gifts, your heart, passion, your abilities, your personality, and your experiences, your shape. Spiritual gifts, heart, passion, abilities, personality, experiences. Figure out what those things are and read the book as well. It will help you to figure out your shape. Strength Finder is a great one as well. What color is your parachute is another one to figure out who are you, why are you here, those kind of big questions.
Yeah.
And then your passions, right? Like your passion might be like teaching, right? So
Yes.
how do you make money as a teacher? Well, there's many ways you can make money as a teacher. You can teach languages, you can teach courses, you can teach workshops, seminars, webinars. Coaching is kind of a form of teaching as well, right? So if you like more like website design, graphic design, if you're more IT stuff, you can do that. If you're good at numbers, you can do accounting, virtual assistant stuff, right? So you got to first figure out what you like to do, what are your skills, and then in terms of monetizing it, like you got to do a trial and error. That's what I recommend.
Yeah.
You got to test if your passion and your purpose will make money in the marketplace, right? Because not every idea you have will make money. I failed many times in business, and I continue to fail many times in business. And the more you fail, it will lead to better success, because every time you fail, it's actually learning and growth and change. And you're like, oh, that's why it didn't work. The next time I do it, I'll do it better, right? So it's very important to fail fast and fail forward and fail small. So you don't fail big and lose a lot of money. You fail small and you fail fast and you fail forward, not backwards, right? So fail. It's a good thing.
Yes,
and,
man.
Failure will lead to success, right? So you start looking at what you're doing is making money, even if it's $50 a month or even if it's $100 a month. Like Udemy, it might only make you $20 or $50 a month, but you'll be like, okay, at least it's $20 to $50 a month that I was not making before. So let me work on building that more. If you start doing an online course and e-commerce store, but it just failed, you created a website and you created a website and no one bought anything, then maybe it's time to do something else, right? So that's my suggestion. First, figure out your purpose and passion, and then do some trial and error to see if you can monetize it. If it's working, do more of it. If it's not working, stop and do something else.
Yeah, man. It's really powerful advice, because everybody really fear about to fail, because they are acting like it's kill me, but it's not, man. It's not. And as you told, we can learn a lot from our failures. So that's why we have to go on and attack on our fears. And I will put it in the links description below, what you are doing, your books, and what you recommended books. You can send the exact name. I will put it in the description below. And can you give me another advice? Let's imagine one man has a little bit, let's say $6,000 he has on the bank, and he is working in a corporate job.
Yes.
If which ways to be a digital nomad better? If he has to quit job and take money and go Southeast Asia, try to 6 months or 3 months to be a digital nomad and putting in the work and build an online business, or start when he's working a little bit, build an online business and take a little bit profit from it and go on.
So I recommend something called the side hustle. So side hustle means you're working at your traditional job and then you're doing your business on your side, because it depends on your risk tolerance as well, right? So if you're a high risk taker, if you don't have like kids to feed, if you don't have bills to pay, if you're maybe living at home with your parents, then you have a higher risk tolerance, because even if you fail in your business and you're living with your parents, well, you can still eat and you still have a place to live. Now, if you do that as like a dad with like 2 or 3 kids, that's more risky, right? Like if you quit your job and you're not making money, well, your kid's going to be hungry. You don't want them to be living in cardboard boxes on the street, right? So start with the side hustle, especially if you're maybe a little bit older and you have more responsibilities, like, like especially like family, right? So side hustle is a good place to start. And then, you build up your side hustle from like zero, obviously, to like the 500 to 1,000. And then maybe when you're around almost full time, that's when I recommend you quit, because then you at least don't have the stress. Because if you're working on a level of stress, like, oh my God, I don't have the money, I can't pay the bills, you're going to destroy and sabotage what you're doing, because you're going to be working from stress, not from freedom and abundance. And you're working basically for necessity, in terms of like, if I don't make money, I can't make the bills. And that's not a good place to be in business. And I've been there too, by the way. I've been at points where I'm just like, oh crap, what are we going to do this month? We have to borrow money, or we have to go into debt. Like, you don't want to get to that place, because it's not healthy. It's not a healthy emotional, mental, and relational. It's not good for the marriage, right? Because most marriages fail because of money, communication, sex, and kids, right? So you don't want to be in that place, especially if you're married, right? So in terms of what you asked me about, like, you can go to places like Bali or Chiang Mai or Medellin, Colombia. These are big digital nomad hotspots. And the good thing about these places is because they already have high-speed internet. They have co-working spaces. They have co-living spaces. They have a community of people. When you're going through those hard times, they can support you. You have mastermind groups. You have meetups. You have people who will speak English, right? So you have a good...
Which city is the best?
So right now, the big three are Chiang Mai in Thailand. That's the big digital nomad hotspot, because they have a great climate. It's not too hot, not too cold, just right. And there's a big digital nomad community in Chiang Mai. That's probably the number one hotspot in the world. Bali in Indonesia also has a great digital nomad community. I've been to Medellin, Colombia last year, and I love Medellin, Colombia. It's in South America. It's called the city. It's called the City of Eternal Spring. It is also, like, especially for people in North America, it's easier to go to Colombia, whereas like Asia, a little bit further, more expensive with a flight ticket, right? So Europe is obviously a little bit more expensive, but there's like Lisbon in Portugal, Barcelona.
Exactly.
These are like London and Paris. They're a little bit expensive, right? London and Paris. So a digital nomad hotspot needs to have a few factors. First is low cost of living. You need to have good climate. You need to have good internet, and you need to have the community, right? So those are some of the important. Yeah, you need to have those things.
It's like an oxygen.
It's quite lonely.
Yeah, it's like an oxygen.
Exactly. Wi-Fi is more important to digital nomads than oxygen. Wi-Fi is very important to us.
Exactly, man.
Yes.
And which way are you, marketing your connection, your services?
Yeah, so I do something called omni-channel marketing. So I'll explain what omni-channel marketing means. Omni means all, right? Like omnipotent, omnipresent. It means all, or everywhere. Omni-channel means you're using all channels, or every channel, to market yourself. Obviously, it's hard to use every single channel in terms of marketing, but I'll use the main ones. Like, I have an email list. I use Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I use LinkedIn. I have a podcast. Which I'm actually going to have Burak on my podcast as well. He'll be talking about travel to Turkey. So anyway, I have a podcast with 580 episodes. I have a YouTube channel. And then I do media interviews, like kind of like this with Burak. Whenever someone asks me to be on this show, I'll always say yes. I don't care how big their following is, how little their following is, or it's not really about that. It's about how can I add value. Even if only one person listens to this interview, I will have had value to that one person. If 20 people, if 50 people, if 100 people, even better. But for me, it's all about the one person who's listening to this interview right now. How can I help the one person? So doing media interviews is a great marketing tool. I also do speaking, right? So when I do speaking, I'll speak for free, or I'll sell from the stage, or I'll do paid speaking. And then when I speak, that's how I market myself. Doing networking, like going to different meetups or BNIs or Toastmasters or different expat communities. Facebook groups, obviously, you have a lot of different communities around that. Those are some of the ways I market myself. So omni-channel marketing.
Omni-channel marketing. I will research about that, man. And what is your goals in 2019? Last question.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. So one of my big goals for like life goals is to visit every single country in the world. So for those people who are not aware, there's actually 193 United Nations member countries.
Yes.
That's basically all the official United Nations countries. There's some ambiguous countries like Taiwan, which is kind of part of China, but it's kind of independent.
Yeah.
There's Palestine, which is kind of part of Israel, but it's kind of independent. There's Kosovo. There's like some countries that are a little bit debatable whether they're country, but there's 193 official countries, so that's one of my goals is to visit all of them. I'm currently at 81, so I wanna visit countries towards that goal. I want to hit that goal. Yeah,
Man,
I want to hit that goal.
81.
Yes, and then one of our goals here, because we're in the Philippines, is I'm going to do my first digital nomad conference in the Philippines. It's the first ever digital nomad conference in the Philippines. I have different international speakers coming in to speak at that one. And it's my first time I've done an international conference. I've done them back in Canada. So this will be a big thing for me to do an international conference. I am also working with my daughter to publish her first kids book. It's about confidence. So she's going to publish that book probably by February. We have already done the layout of the book. We're doing the illustrations. So stay tuned for the kids book with my daughter. And, I want to volunteer and impact more, obviously hit more income as well. And at the end of the day, am I being a better dad, a better husband? Am I helping more people? Am I serving more? That's my definition of success. Not really numbers, but it's like, okay, have I helped more people this year than last year, right? I'm like, okay, if I've done that, I'm on the right track.
Yeah, new. Each year, you find newer version of yourself. It's very powerful. And when your conference in 2000.
The conference is March 30th, 2019, from 10 to 6 in Manila. So if you guys are watching from around the world, you can either come to the Philippines and watch live, or we do a live stream. So if for the live stream, you can watch any city, any country, any continent, any device. You can watch from your mobile, from your laptop, from your tablet, from your desktop, right? So you can find that info at digitalnomadmastery.com for the not only the conference, but I do a lot of online stuff, right? So I have like coaching programs, I have webinars, I have courses, I have books, I have podcasts, etc. So you can find all that out. My website is daddyblogger.com for people who are interested in more the fatherhood and the family side of things.
I will put it in the description below, all of them, man.
Yes, Digital Nomad Mastery if you're interested in becoming a digital nomad. I am happy to help anyone who is watching. And Burak, I just want to thank you for having me on your show. It's great to connect and get to know you better.
Yeah, man. Thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'm so happy. I'm so blessed for this. And you are really amazing, man. It's you are I want to repeat it. You are representing the new era of family, man. So this is really, really important. Thank you so much to joining me.
Thank you, my friend. The honor and pleasure was mine. And, I'm all about impact, right? So if I can impact people through the show, I will have done my job. So I'm actually grateful that you have given me the impact, given me the opportunity to impact more people. So thank you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you so much. And have a good day, man.
Okay, have a good day. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.